Hey guys, it's Leonard here. Now in this video I'm going to share with you 6 mistakes I made after I made my first £10,000. So guys, I know a lot of you are on your journey and you're about to experience, some of you probably have already or are about to go into your first, real income from your business. And I want to share with you 6 mistakes that I made when I made my first £10,000. So, mistake number 1, fast food. Now, I know for any of you that are on the journey of becoming successful and stepping into your greatness, you have had to, of course, abstain yourself from spending all that money on Uber Eats and takeaways because you're saving for your business to grow, and of course you're cutting back on excess spending on fast food and restaurants. The first mistake I definitely think that I've made after making my first £10,000 is spending frivolous money on fast food. Now you got to remember here, guys, these small little things start to add up, and when you get to a space where you no longer have to calculate if you can afford to eat out or if you can afford to order in, it can very much become a behavior pattern where your kitchen essentially becomes every restaurant that's out there. And though there are some pros to treating yourself and looking after yourself and eating what you want to eat, it's important to watch those pounds, those dollars and those pennies, because those things begin to become an expense. For me, it got to a level where I probably was spending around £500 to £600 a month on takeaways, and to the contrary, when I was on a budget, I was able to get shopping for the whole month for around half of that. So it was a very big mistake that I learned very quickly not to become a habit, because by also taking myself to the shopping centre and buying some house produce, which if I'm honest with you, are a bit more healthy, I not only improved my diet, but at the same time I saved some money in my pocket. So I would definitely advise for any of you that are making that income not to get carried away and to start spending frivolously on takeaways. Number 2 is socializing. It's quite interesting because when you're working and developing your business, you're going to spend, and you probably are spending, a lot of time in your office space, in your room, on your laptop, alone, and you're spending this time building and working on your business or your agency or whatever vision you have. And socializing tends to become quite a secondary thought, because you understand that your time and effort can be used way more efficiently if you focus it on your business. However, after making my first £10,000, I definitely started to look and accept more social events and things that were going on, which led me to going to more evening events, which led me to kind of writing off my evenings as a productive area to still be developing my business and my ideas. Now, to the contrary, socializing is a very good thing. But I think when you get to a space where you open up to everything and you say yes to everything, it can begin to consume your time. And for any of you that are building your multi-million-pound businesses, or you are on your path to really generating big 6 or 7 figure incomes for your companies, it's important to create a fine line. One problem that I found is that I found myself somewhat being more swayed to socializing, and it kind of perpetuated from going from one event to being invited to other events to being invited to different holiday destinations, which are great, but then you also not only go from being social but also spending your money on traveling and being at these social events that are going on. So I definitely would just advise that you keep an open mind and a balance between the social side and staying committed and disciplined with the person you are, because you do build a lot of discipline when you're building a business, and you don't want to let that slip and fall to the side because you have the money and you become so social that you forget that you need to still be disciplined. Number 3, drinking and just toxic behavior. You see, we all love a celebration, and we all watch the TV screens and we all see our favorite musicians celebrating life, and a lot of that does contain some form of alcohol. Some people go as far as smoking or taking excess drugs. And for me, in my journey, I have found myself because I'm so ingrained in my journey, whenever I'm invested in a business, I put all in. And whenever we get a win or we have a great time, we want to go to a club or we want to go to a bar and we want to, enjoy ourselves. But I think that you tend to realize that the more that you have your business and the more that you win, you find yourself more prone to celebrating. First you're celebrating the company hitting £10,000. Then you're celebrating the company still having £10,000. Then you start celebrating the fact that you're the owner of the company, and it starts to become a consistency of celebrations. I strongly advise to make sure that you don't start to consume yourself with, excess drugs or excess drinking, because ultimately as the business owner or the agency owner, you are going to be taking a really big hit, and it's going to affect the way you think in the morning. It's going to affect the way you just navigate in your day to day. So these things have a way of wearing you down slowly. It might not happen straight away, but in my experience, I very quickly realized that I had to create a separation between social drinking and social toxic activities, and realizing that it was a choice between becoming a party animal because I have the money, or remaining disciplined and remaining fit and healthy in order to see more growth and to continue to keep the things that I'm doing afloat. Number 4 is ego increase. Listen, I'm gonna sit here and tell you that as a boy that was, making maybe £200 every 3 weeks, the second I saw £10,000 in my account, my ego went from here to here. I definitely advise, and I'd be really lying to you if I didn't tell you that you are going to face different elements of your personality, and which will include your ego, which you have to learn to at least acknowledge, right? And it's not about becoming successful and suppressing yourself and not praising yourself, but it becomes bad when you think you're better than anyone else, or when you think that you're smarter than anyone else. And for me, being 18 or 19 and having £10,000, I did begin to believe that I was somewhat better or smarter than other people. And I think the downside of that is it negated the information I was receiving, because intelligence is not just measured by success or money. It can be done through creativity. It can be exchanged through wisdom. It can be exchanged through experience. And I think the ego at times tricks us into believing that because we've got to the position we're in right now, we know best. So I strongly advise, when that money starts coming in, to keep an ego check in place every month. Just review yourself. How have I treated others, and how have I communicated myself, and just keep that in mind so that you remain the person you are, because money shouldn't change you, and neither should your success. Number 5 is a philosophy I have called out with the old and in with the new. I think as you develop and you change and you create all of this success for yourself, you're going to see a lot of things that were once staple relationships or friendships come, and you're going to see a lot of them go. And I think it's really important to be able to identify the ones you keep and the ones you let go of, because sometimes the ones we let go of tend to be because of the change that you have become, and the fact of being unable to communicate with that person that you are still the same person, you still value them as a friend. But I say that to say that it's important to be able to be aware of the old things that you have in place that keep you and make you who you are right now, the things that matter, the people that deal with you based on where you're at right now, and then to monitor and be very mindful of the new people that come around, because you have to remember the new people are dealing with you from the person you are and becoming with that £10,000. So in my mind, I would treat everyone equal, and I think I realized just with time that it's not always smart to completely pivot to all the new people you meet, because a lot of them are meeting you based off of the person and the things you have, as opposed to the person you are when you have nothing. So just be mindful of monitoring the philosophy of out with the old and in with the new, and just making sure that the new doesn't have any more priority than the old, just because it's new. So the last but not the least is not to connect money to your happiness. You see, we are all working hard and we all know the change that money and finances can bring to our lives. But so often, especially for me, I worked endlessly with the idea that when I hit a certain number or when I get a certain amount, I was going to be able to achieve, and I was going to be able to feel the solution that I needed in life, and it was going to be connected to my happiness. And I was very wrong by this, because I think it's only when you realize that you need to connect your happiness not to money but to feeling and real experiences and people and loved ones, that you then begin to realize that you are doing what you're doing for a bigger purpose. And even though it's just you doing this right now, maybe for your business, the people that it's going to impact are going to be able to also benefit the success that you're having. So when you realize that seeing other people happy and seeing the impact you make on other people is an actual transaction of emotion that you can actually feel, you will very quickly come to realize that that's more of a place to center your happiness than money, because money is a transaction, and if anything, it's not even real. So what I would say to you is that keep these things in mind, because these are all, emotions that I've experienced, and I feel like even as you're on your quest and your journey, you're going to experience. But if I had someone to tell me ahead of time, I would have also taken a mental note. So that's why I'm sharing it with you now. But anyway, once again, I'm Leonard Sekyonda, and I'm here to give you videos on sales education, orientation, and increasing your conversion rate in the market space. And please make sure you remember to like this video if you found it meaningful, because by liking it, you help me optimize my content and my channel. And also make sure that you leave your comments below and let me know if you've made your first £10,000 already. What have you learned about your characteristic that someone from the community in this channel can learn from as well? Once again, I'm Leonard Sekyonda. Love sharing value with you, and I'll be keeping you posted with more content. Speak soon.